Hey, this is Ben Dedalot, and I have been talking to people about movies that they haven't watched. And so I thought I want to give a rundown of the basic plot of these movies so that you can share it with your friends in a shorter video. Here is my too long didn't watch version for people that haven't seen a movie so that they can be brought up to date on movies they haven't seen and have good discussions with people and not get that reaction of, why haven't you watched it? And you can't, now you can't say I didn't have time because this will be very, very short. So, first movie I wanted to do was Star Wars. Of course, Star Wars. Why not Star Wars? Huge nerd, like Star Wars. It came out like just before I was born. I reviewed it on Fast Forward so that I can give you, pausing every so often to watch a quick scene here or there, but kind of give you a rapidly paced version of the story. Just check my notes here. Alright, so after watching, you have to classify this movie as what it is. A lot of people say sci-fi. It is actually a fantasy movie, okay? It's not a sci-fi movie. Yes, there's a lot of sci-fi stuff in it. It's a fantasy movie because you'll see. Okay, so we start off with apparently a bunch of these peasants are trying to defend their flying fortress from another flying fortress who's trying to attack them. And the reason they're defending it is because of these two golems, right? There's this gold golem and this white and blue golem, who apparently have fallen in love, which is against the policy of the current imperial government. Golems can't fall in love. So these guys are trying to defend these two golems who have fallen in love, and so they are trying to run away. And so this princess from some small planet has decided she's going to help these two golems who are in love run away. But they get captured by these imperial bad guys, specifically Darth Vader and his white knights. Okay, so it's opening scene, peasants fighting white knights as they're trying to take these two golems away. And the princess helps them escape, sticking them in this escape pod thing, shoots down, but she sends them to the desert. So they get to the desert and they have some kind of lovers battle, quarrel thing. It's really hard to get both sides of the story because the golem that's white and blue only talks in like beeps, so you don't really know what he's saying. You just have to interpret what the golem's saying, but it's some kind of lovers quarrel, and they go their separate ways because, as lovers do, you fight, you go your separate ways for a while. Anyways, they both get captured by these goblins. Now, these goblins aren't really warlike, but they are slave traders, so they trade these two golems as slaves to this hacienda owner who has like his nephew staying with him for the summer or some crap. I don't know. This nephew is like cleaning them, and he's like dorking around because he doesn't really want to do it, and he ends up breaking the little white golem, right? And it starts showing off its powers of illusion, because apparently this one's been infused with the power of illusion, and it projects an image of the princess, which really gets this kid excited because, teenager. So this teenage kid and is like, hey, show me more, and the little guy's like, no, I'm not going to. And so, anyways, he's afraid because he broke the golem that he's going to have to cover it up with his uncle. So he's having dinner with his uncle, and he's like, hey, I'm really bored here. I want to go off and, like, fly ships and pirate and stuff. And his uncle's like, God, no. And he's like, hey, you know what? When I was cleaning this golem, I found this image of a girl who's asking about some guy, Bendywan. And you don't suppose that's old Bendywan who lives out in the desert, and then his uncle just goes ape crap on him, and the two of them have a spite, and then they go running off. And so he goes back to finish cleaning the golems. He gets down there, and sure enough, he scared off the little one because he broke it. Okay? Because he popped a little piece off of him, and the golem's like, oh, don't hurt me, and so he ran off. So his buddy, the gold one, which his name is Sippy Thrippio, Sippy is like, no, help me find my friend, I miss him, I love him. And so the next morning, they go out into the desert to try and find, what was his name? Artie, the little white and blue gold, Artie. But they get attacked by sand orcs, and who should save them? Old Bendywan Kennedy. So Bendywan takes him back to his cave in the desert, and turns out that Bendywan was friends with Luke's dad, and Luke's dad at some point gave him a magical light sword to give to Luke, so that Luke can go and fulfill his destiny, whatever that may be. The two golems being reunited are off in the corner, kind of canoodling, and Bendywan tells Luke about how his father wasn't just another farmer; he was a pirate, and then fought in a great war and all this stuff. And anyways, so Luke's like, yeah, that's all cool and stuff, but I'm a farmer, man. And Bendywan's like, well, let's see what we can get. And they convince Artie to show him more of this illusion. And it turns out it's actually a message from the princess who's asking for their help. Apparently Bendywan was a friend of her father too. Amazing coincidence, I know. So, Bendy One and Luke decide that they're gonna go rescue the princess. It takes some convincing on Bendy One's part, but after they find out that there's some serial killer called the Imperial running around killing farmers, Luke's like, shut out of here. They stop for a little quick goblin barbecue, and then they head over to Moss Ivy, which is apparently an elvish port city where ships come in, and anyways, it has a pond because they talk about a lot about scum. So they go to this bar, and they end up getting in a fight with a pigman over who can talk to this Sasquatch and his pirate buddy, and Bendy One, like, cuts his arm off, and it's a whole big thing. Anyways, they go and they talk to this guy, who's a pirate. His name is Han Solo. Okay, and Han has a ship called the Millennial Falcon, and this is, like, really kind of, like, out there, because millennials wasn't even a thing until, like, the late 2000s, so for them to have coined the term millennial, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's how much of an impact this movie has had on society. Anyway, so them and the millennial, so Han is convinced by Bendy One that they actually have money, even though they don't. That if he takes him to the princess will pay for this trip to meet the princess. So they leave, and apparently Han, the reason he accepts this at face value is just he is desperate. He needs money bad. Apparently he jabbed some guy in the gut, and he's in trouble for that. These bug people were really offended when he did it, and they're after him. It happens to be one of their bounty hunters shows up and tries to kill him, but Han gets him first. Bendy Wand and Luke go to the docking facility for where the ship is docked, and they get there, and it's not even like a pirate ship, it's some piece of junk, and Luke is like, this is some piece of junk, and Han's like, no, dude, this is totally awesome, and Luke's like, yeah, no, I've seen ships, this isn't a ship, this is like a trash can on stilts. But it turns out that apparently the White Knights are also after Han Solo because Han did something. So Luke and Bendy One are now associated with them, so they're all on the run. They get in the ship, they escape from the White Knights, and then they go off into space. Meanwhile, while they're in space, the princess is on this giant battle fortress, the Death Stair. Okay, I don't understand the naming convention here, but apparently... So the Death Stair is commanded by this General Tolkien, okay? Which I think is a throwback to, J.R.R. Tolkien, because the whole fantasy thing, because elves, Tolkien, you got it. So Commander Tolkien and Dirth are holding the princess, right? And so they're trying to convince her, oh, tell us where these golems went. We have to stop this, illegal love affair. And so she's like, no, I'm not going to. And they're like, okay, so torture isn't gonna work for you, but you know what might work? We're gonna blow up a planet. And they're like, this will be impressive. Needless to say, Princess, not impressed. Meanwhile, back on the Millennial Falcon, Bendy One decides, hey, you know what? I gave you that light sword thing, that magical light sword. I'm going to teach you how to use it, but we're going to teach you to do blind fighting, because that is a feat that every warrior needs to know. Gotta know how to fight without seeing it. It's cool, not very useful in any of the situations that Luke ever runs into in this movie. They arrive at the princess's planet, or where they thought the princess's planet would be, and it's a bunch of asteroids. And as they're flying through the asteroids, who should show up but White Knights and in their T-fighters, and they chase them, and yet they get caught by the Death Stair, okay? So they're on the Death Stair, and the golems, the real heroes of the story, the golems, find a way to get them into a command room and steal the White Knights' uniforms, and they come up with this plan. The little one comes up with a plan and says, here's where the princess is, here's where you get to turn off the magic crystals that are powering the capture beams, and we can escape. So they go, cool, awesome. The humans head off, the golems sit back at the command center trying to, organize things so that the two parties that are out in the Death Stair can do things right. They find the princess, she's in the dungeon. They end up falling down into the trash toilet chute thing, which starts to crush in on them because it's obviously a trap. It's obviously a trap. You don't put a giant chute out of the dungeon and everybody would take it. So it's obviously a trap to kill those people who try and escape. But the golems, again, heroes of the movie, golems prevent the trap from killing them. They figure out a way to stop the trap, and the humans are able to get out. The Sasquatch guy is with them the whole time. Mostly all he does is yell and blow things up. Cool. It's very cool, though. They get out, and they're about to get back from Millennial Falcon. So they get there, and as they're trying to sneak to the Millennial Falcon, turns out old Bendy Wand, who used to be apparently used to be Darth Vader's master, you know, like, because they're wizards. Apparently they're battle mages, though, because they fight with swords and magic, so it's very Tolkien, okay? Very Tolkien. You got the whole Gandalf vibe there, okay? So you got these two guys, and they're going at it with swords and magic, and they're doing it, but Benduan, super old. At one point, it looks like he's trying to yield to Vader, but Vader, no honor whatsoever, just cuts him down. Apparently, just, man, magic's and like disintegration spell on the tip of his sword or something, I don't know, just gone, okay? And Luke witnesses this, and it goes and pushes him off the deep end. He goes crazy, starts hearing voices, it's just bad, very bad. They do escape, but it turns out that there's some magical tracking device that they planted on the Millennial Falcon, and so they follow it. They get back to the Golems' rebel camp, okay? So the Golems have started this whole move. It's a whole alliance. They have these rebel humans and aliens that are trying to help them. So they get to the Rebel Alliance, and it turns out that because Luke was a farmer and he drove tractors, that qualifies him for flying these fighter ship things they have. I don't understand. I have driven a tractor, and in no way am I qualified to fly a fighter plane. Long story short there, they decide that since the Death Star is on the way, and they know it, they're going to destroy it by plugging its exhaust port with, I don't know, a banana, I guess. This came out before Beverly Hills Cop, so maybe Beverly Hills Cop got the banana in the tailpipe from this one. But essentially, they're gonna stick something in the tailpipe of this big Death Star thing, and boom. Okay, that's what's supposed to happen. They launch all these ships, and they're fighting the T-fighters, and they're trying to get to the Death Star. And meanwhile, the Death Star is trying to home in on their home base and destroy it by staring at it. But it's got to have direct line of sight, and it's on the wrong side of the sun because some guy's an idiot and came in from the wrong side of the solar system. So they're counting down to that, and you know, it's super intense battles going on. They have to fly down this, and this never made sense to me. And a couple of times that I kind of watched through it really quick, they fly down a cavern, like a valley, okay? There's not a top on it, so it's not like you're flying in a tunnel. You're in a valley. And they start at one end of the valley and fly to the other end of the valley, down in this valley. And then at the last second, they have to fire and then pull up and get out. And like the exhaust port's 2 meters, which is, you know, I can't even put that on I can't put it on my camera. I can't. My arms aren't probably 2 meters anyways, but bigger than me. Okay, so 2-meter hole, supposed to be really hard to hit. I get that idea. What I don't understand watching this, they kept flying in the valley. All the way. A long way. No cover. There couldn't be a cover because they had to go in and they had to pull out, and the entire time you can see the stars above them. And I just kept wondering, why not go in closer? They spent all of this time going down this valley when if they had just kind of like flown alongside it and then dropped in and out at the last second, that might have been more effective. I don't even know if that's feasible, but it seems like if you flew over the thing, you wouldn't have to weave and dodge as much. You could just kind of... Here, on camera. Just me. Maybe it was an angle, who knows. All I know is that it made for very exciting movie magic. They go down, and Dirth decides that he's gonna be the one who takes out all of the people trying to blow up the ship, and Tolkien's like, it's never gonna happen, we've got a magic shield over our exhaust port, even if they found a way to get through it, never gonna happen. Okay, turns out Luke, his insanity has gotten to the point where he's just constantly hearing voices. He turns off his guidance system in the ship that's supposed to help him magically aim at the target at the end of the tunnel. And everybody's like, Luke, are you okay? He's like, no, I'm fine. He's got these voices in his head going, no, you can do it on your own. You don't need any help. Go solo. And just as his mind's like, go solo, suddenly Han Solo swoops in and like knocks Darth Vader out from behind him and blows up some other ships and helps him get to the point where he gets to land the final blow on this big ship, and it explodes, and they all live happily ever after, with Golem Love saving the day, really. Oh, you know what, I forgot what it was? I totally forgot. Okay, so the little blue and white Golem, Artie, he's in the ship with Luke, okay? He turns off Artie's control, and that's what makes everybody upset. Artie is like helping him aim the weapons on the ship, and helping him fly the ship, and he turns off Artie's control, and everybody's like, are you stupid? And Artie's like, what? And it's like, you know, why would a human not want the help of their golem friend? But, you know, it's whatever. He's gone crazy. Obviously, hearing voices, he's crazy. But in the end, they have a big ceremony, and the golems and the princess award medals to Luke and Han, apparently forgiving Han for being a pirate and pardoning all of his transgressions against the government, or at least whatever government the princess is in charge of, because the White Knights and Darth are still out there. That is my TLDW for Star Wars. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more of these, go ahead and let me know, and I will do more. This was a bit long. I'm going to have to cut this down some. Alright, later.